Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the closing bell here at MarketStream.live. My name is Joseph Cusick with the Cusick Group, securities offered by MoneyBlock. Here to wrap up today's trading action and get you set up for tomorrow. Basically, the markets finished off their worst levels. Dow closed down about 0.3% at 19,827 on the Dow Industrials. The NASDAQ closed down to 55.39, down about 0.6%. Started to pick up in the afternoon. The S&P 500 did close to 2267 and 89 cents, down 0.3%. And the Russell 2000, the leader to the downside, was down about 1.56% at 1352.70. So the action also started to pick up into the afternoon session with some more volume. We saw it was relatively light going into the midday, but it did pick up. New York did finish at about 900 million shares. That's against its 850 million average. And the NASDAQ finished at 1.7 billion versus its average of right around 1.69. So with the 1.73, a little bit above average. You had decliners outpacing advancers, both on the New York Stock Exchange and the NASDAQ. And you also had the new highs continuing to outpace new lows on both exchanges. Now, we continued to see for the remainder of the day, the relative strength was in the court of precious metals. And we saw it clearly in gold. The gold miners, the juniors finished, GDXJ finished up 3.3%. That's something that we want to keep an eye on. The miners GDX up 2.79%. You also saw silver. Now, silver I'm going to watch very closely because I want to see if it comes under pressure, because we did see some movements in the semiconductor space, in the tech space, a little bit of pressure there. That may weigh on the continuation of the upside on the precious metal silver, since it is used as an industrial metal in chips, but we're going to keep an eye on that. We also saw commodities moving to the upside, not only corn, wheat, and soybeans, but we also saw cocoa up. NIB as an ETF you can look at, up about 1.89%. You also saw that the currency markets stayed strong as far as the global currencies. You saw the yen finishing the day up 1.69%. Looking at the ETF FXY, the British pound sterling FXB, post the Prime Minister May's comments about the fact that yes, they're going to move forward with Brexit, but it's going to be a little bit more of a systematic rather than in April, boom, we're going to pull the trigger, Article 50. So it's going to be very interesting. Also, they're going to bring components of this to a vote, which actually could put the actual exit in question. So we'll keep watching that situation. But the British pound was up. Take a look at FXB. That's the ETF that tracks the British pound, up 1.67%. Where we did see some notable weakness, and we talked about this last night in Sunday night setups, we wanted to watch the regional banks, and we saw Bank of Ozark came out. They actually disappointed. Then actually their earnings weren't that bad, but the price action was disappointing. The stock was down about $1.50. You saw that the regional banking ETF KRE was down about 3.6%. It's basically, it looks like profit taking. These banks have run up so far so fast post the November election in anticipation of new policies, new deregulation, and so forth, that there's some profit taking. Whether or not that's logical, who knows? We're going to find out. But that continued throughout the day and sustained into the close. KBE, which is the S&P Banking Index, you can take a look at that ETF, down 3.4%. You're seeing also financial services. I said keep an eye on the e-brokers. Watch IAI as well as PFS. PFS was down 3.25%. But we're seeing some mixed results coming out from some of the e-brokers. We're going to watch the bigger ones. Interactive Brokerage did come out. They missed pretty disappointingly, but that was based on some losses that they had. But overall, their profits and so forth were looking in line, if not better. But they did have some notable losses from some previous trading losses by clients. A couple other things that you want to keep an eye on going forward, and this is going to be more of a barometer of how the infrastructure plays are going to go, and that's going to be watching base metals like copper. As we had mentioned in the midday and also in the opening bell. Copper was getting beat up, down about 3.15%. JJC is an ETF you can track if you don't have access to the futures. And that was down about 3.15%. Weakness in copper and continued weakness in copper is a potential sign that maybe the infrastructure plays that are anticipated, maybe we got a little bit too far out in front of our skis, so to speak. We're going to watch that one very closely, as well as we're going to watch Japan. EWJ, the ETF that we watch to track Japan, was down 1.04%. The yen has been on fire, moving to the upside. Let's see if there's some pressure, especially now that we're getting closer to the fact that we're going to start to see policies as far as trade's concerned, whether or not we're going to see an increase in an increase on imports and so forth, making it a little bit more competitive. That means that nations like Japan, who export quite a bit of supply, China and other areas in Asia as well as in Europe, that's going to start impacting them. But we did see that the weakness in the dollar was helping, so we'll watch that very closely. All right, folks, that's it for the closing bell right now. Go back and take a look at everything that we talked about in all our different segments. Tech Talk, we did a lot of discussion about some earnings that are going to be out tomorrow and some big names. We also did some great discussions this morning on what's going on in Asia and Europe. Take a look at all that information. It's very useful. It's very helpful. We give some transparency about some ranges, expectations of movement and going forward. And we're going to start talking more and more about strategic positioning. So keep an eye on what we're offering here at MarketStream.live. Till tomorrow morning, 8:30 a.m. Eastern time when we'll be back on. You guys have a great night, and we'll see you soon here on MarketStream.live. Take care.